Deep within the forests, where even the sun seemed to hesitate to cast its rays, stood an ancient and forgotten prison, its walls cloaked in moss and its windows shattered. Time had abandoned this building, but the tales of the inmates who once lived there endured. One such story, whispered among the prisoners, spoke of Dmitri's cells, a place where fear and death were part of everyday life. Dmitri, known as the ruthless Dmitri, was the most feared criminal in the prison. He had experienced more violence in his life than most could imagine and took pride in his brutality. He had earned a reputation for not fearing anyone or anything. One night, after the other inmates had shared tales of legends and myths surrounding Dmitri's cell, he stood up, determined to prove his courage by opening the cell that everyone else feared. As Dmitri stepped into the prison's dim hallways, he felt the air grow heavy and cold. He approached the cell door, which was always locked, and forcefully opened it, the door creaking like an ancient ghost. Upon entering, he was hit by a blast of frigid air that seemed to emanate not only from outside but from the very walls. The cell was coated in a strange filth and mold, with a stench reminiscent of old wounds and decay. The walls were dark, as if they had absorbed blood that had long since dried. Dmitri ventured deeper into the cell, and the door slammed shut behind him, plunging him into an oppressive silence. The darkness enveloped him, and he felt as though unseen eyes were watching. He turned around, but there was no one there. However, he noticed a mirror standing in the corner, and despite the rising dread within him, he walked over to it, unaware that what he would find there would haunt him forever. In the mirror, he saw not only his reflection but also a shadow with dark eyes and no face, grinning at him as if it were aware of his fears and secrets. "You will never escape," it whispered, and Dmitri felt a chill run down his spine. He turned again, but the cell felt emptier and darker than before. The walls seemed to pulse, as if they were alive, and Dmitri heard whispers rising around him. "We are here." The voices echoed, coming from every direction. "You are one of us now." Dmitri tried to scream, but his voice vanished, as if the prison had swallowed every word. He rushed to the door, but it remained locked. A cold terror gripped him, and he began to wonder if he had truly trapped himself. Time dragged on, and Dmitri found himself sinking deeper into fear and panic. He began to see hallucinations and shadows dancing before his eyes. These were no longer mere reflections, but manifestations of his own fears come to life. With every attempt to defend himself, he felt those shadows drawing closer, bringing with them the pains and torments he had once inflicted on others. Dmitri vanished into the darkness of the cell, and days passed. The other inmates noticed his absence, whispering that he had encountered the spirits of Dmitri's cell, who would never allow him peace. Each new prisoner who dared to enter the cell felt the same cold and fear that had overcome Dmitri, yet many were too terrified to step inside. Those who did often disappeared without a trace, as if the prison had consumed them. The next morning, after Dmitri's disappearance, his body was found buried near the prison grounds. His face expressed extreme terror and agony, as if he had seen something he could not bear. The inmates who heard of his vanishing spoke in hushed tones, saying that Dmitri had confronted the spirits of the cell, who had fed on his fears. According to legend, Dmitri was not the only victim of the shadowed cells. Many others who had dared to be there bore within them memories of fear and torment that would never allow them to forget. Sometimes, fear is the worst thing that can happen, and some places are better left unopened. As they spoke of Dmitri's cell, the inmates warned each other, "Never open doors that lead to darkness. Those who have entered have never returned." Thus, Dmitri's cell remains forever a place of fear and mystery, where shadows dwell and will never find peace.